possible. And the crowd absolutely love it. This is why we love Formula One.
This two-way fight has well and truly become a fight between three of the key protagonists of this sport. Max Verstappen wins the US Grand Prix, his fourth win here at Circuit of the Americas, and he's become the most winning driver in America as well. It was 104 points, it's now 40 points behind Oscar Piastri, and if he continues with this trajectory, who knows what may happen, what position we will be in come Abu Dhabi. That was the US Grand Prix, not entirely eventful, but let's get into it, shall we? This is your post-race show. Alongside me, Jolyon Palmer and James Hinchcliffe. And while we had all the ingredients, guys, for potentially a thriller, including turn one, it didn't entirely turn out that way. Well, we shall put that out there first up, but for Max Verstappen, that's the kind of day he wants, doesn't he? He'd like the calmest race where he's barely seen on the TV coverage because he's 10 seconds up the road.
Yeah, he liked the chaos yesterday because it wiped out the McLarens. Today, calm was good, and he won the race. So he's just driving at such a high level. With Max, you feel like if he gets out in front, especially when Charles there as a buffer, it's gonna be his for the taking. And he just doesn't make mistakes. He's out front. He's not entirely happy with the car. He's making some having some slides, and communication is it is clear that he's not absolutely at one with it. Doesn't matter. He's still just overall putting it together.
This is the thing. You say, oh, he's driving 10 seconds up the road, but what it takes to do that and to have put himself in a position to have held on to the lead from pole, it's Max Verstappen doing what Max Verstappen does. But we've been talking all weekend, is he in the fight? Is he? I think we can firmly say now, yes, he is. The amount he's taken out of Oscar Piastri, if he was to take out again, he'd win by some.
It's 64 points that he's taken out in the last 4 Grand Prix weekends. And there's 5 weekends left to go. It's simple math. He's only 40 points back. He is not only in this, you'd almost make him a favorite at this point, the rate that he's been going. Of the last 4 weekends, 133 possible points, he's bagged 119. He's either finished first or second in every points-paying session in the last 4 weekends. Those are incredible stats when you consider where he and that car were just before the summer break.
And you can see that now in the figures on the screen. These are the points since the summer break. Norris, Piastri, George Russell up there disrupting a fair few things as well. But Max Verstappen scoring the most points, 111 since that summer break. It's just ridiculous stuff, but fair play to Red Bull as well, because they've given Max a better car in which he can go and do some of the magic that we're used to seeing.
They've got on top of some of their issues. They've found a balance. They're starting the weekends much better. We've seen for pretty much the 12 months before Monza, let's say, where they'd start on a Friday and we'd be like, Max is barely in the top 10. Sprint races before sometimes haven't been easy. Qatar last year was like 6th or 7th, and then they work it out through Saturday. Now they're turning up with a much better package. They're making fine-tuning adjustments through the weekend. And Max is just on it with a stable platform, a consistent car. And that's the result, is hauling in the points.
Jakesy joked, didn't he? This team principal lark for Laurent Mekies must seem relatively simple. First race in, he gets the sprint win in Belgium. I mean, that's not how simple it is. But what impact do you think Laurent Mekies has had since coming in? Because the trajectory upwards for the team has been astonishing since.
Yeah, and Max talked about it right from the get-go, right? It's a little bit of a cultural change. It's a little bit of an approach change. It's a little bit more engineering focus, a little bit more driver input focus, which I think is so important when you've got a driver the caliber of Max Verstappen behind the wheel, and the results are there. I mean, what they've done, I think a big part of the upgrades that they've brought have just opened up that setup window. I mean, to your point, Jolyon, they would show up on a Friday, maybe outside the window. They could spend that time tuning it, maybe get there by a Grand Prix, but now they seem to just be rolling off the truck with a car that he can go and push to the limit. And even on, on a good day, we saw him, beat McLaren's to pole in Suzuka, for example. We saw that incredible race in Imola. So he used to be able to do it if they could find that setup. Now it just seems much easier to get there.
But genuinely, I don't know if they've got the best car.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I don't know if they've got the best car. If you look at sprint qualifying, there were 700s between Lando and Max. Lando went about 60 seconds before Max. It was ramping up on Friday. You've gone from a completely green track to one that's getting close. So the track evolution makes a difference. I think Lando could have had sprint pole. Max then got the start. The McLarens are wiped out. But I think if you look at where Max's pace on the sprint race was compared to George Russell, it was quite close. The McLarens you'd expect to be quite quick, at least bang on with Max, and then they're getting the learning as well. They can fine-tune their car. But it all started from there, and then I think probably by the actual qualifying, McLaren were a bit cautious with their setup after the sprint DNF. Same thing as Singapore. I don't think they had the better car, to be honest, but Max did a great qualifying lap, got ahead, and kept the track position. Lando was within a second pretty much the whole race. That shows that he was quicker, but Max is doing the biz.
But does that mean that as soon as McLaren hits on a weekend, it's going to be tough for Max to keep up this sort of pace?
Well, what I mean is, it's gone down to 40 points, so the trajectory is clear. Max is now there. He may be favourites. I'm sure there's people having a look at it now, but every single race, it is close. It's not like he's winning these ones easily. There are some circumstances that help. Even in Baku, it was such a muddled Q3. Lando's gone first. There was the rain. It would have been close. And then we never saw the pace of McLaren. Oscar's out. Lando's in traffic. We haven't had many fair comparisons of races where they can really race, they can attack. And even today, you've got Charles Leclerc in the middle of the two, so the gap goes out. And you never see Lando able to go with Max or not.
And then he ended up closing up that gap, though, once he cleared Charles, didn't he? I mean,
he was there.
Yeah.
He was there on pace, but he just had the buffer.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting as well that actually within the Constructors' Championship, McLaren far and out winners in that one. But the battle for P2 that was typically between Ferrari and Mercedes, Red Bull are now 10 points behind P2 in that. And we're hoping to get him on the show as well. Yuki Tsunoda hit this weekend P13 to P7 in the Grand Prix. He's scored points, picked up more points. He's battling for a seat in Formula One. And equally pitted early onto that soft tyre around lap 30, earlier than Max. And obviously Red Bull there using a bit of what they can get from Yuki Tsunoda to kind of test things out for Max, do we think?
Let's give it that.
Do we reckon?
It's a little bit of learning just to see, but I mean, for Yuki, they had to make that decision within 5 laps anyway, so you want to see towards the end of the tyre life that. But it's important points for Red Bull in terms of the teams. I don't know how much he's really helping Max in terms of the driving. I think there's too big a gulf between them. But hey, Yuki's had 2 good races, 2 good point scores, so that's encouraging.
Really, more points in the last 3 Grand Prix than he's had in the previous 12. So at least it's trending in the right direction at really a critical time for him.
And we saw an upturn in Belgium at Laurent's first race. We'll get into all of it. We'll hopefully speak to Yuki soon as well. Let's, though, look at the race highlights from today.
Lining up into position. The US Grand Prix is underway. Max Verstappen gets the launch off the line that he needs and chops to the inside line. Lando Norris P2, wide line for Leclerc. Can he get past? Can he use the traction of the soft tyre? He's positioned the car well. He's going to get to the inside. He's going to get second position. Oscar Piastri has gained a place. He is up to 5th. So Sainz looking for another special to the inside. Antonelli not seeing it coming. Oh, over the grass and spinning! Not Oliver Behrman's favourite corner on the racetrack. Is he close enough for a late send? Getting to the apex first and taking second for a second was Lando Norris. Going to the inside, Lando Norris claiming the position, and it's second place in the race. Are we witnessing the comeback of all comebacks? Across the line to take the checkered flag, the dream of Title 5 is alive for Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen wins the US Grand Prix.
Yeah, another very impressive weekend, Max. Extremely well done.
Yeah, well done, mate. Yeah, unbelievable weekend.
Max Verstappen on an almighty comeback. Alex Albon, though, is joining us now in the studio. Almost crept into that final shot, not quite, though. Would have been funny if you had before we threw to the highlights. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it's really not been your day, and qualifying yesterday was tricky. Just talk us through what was going on kind of around the P13, 14, 15 mark in the race.
Honestly, it was a bit of a scrap out there. It's really strange. If you think about Austin, high deck, rough track, hot track, windy, the C1, the hard tyre, you would have thought perfect. And when everyone gets told, you know, what compounds the cars in front of you are on, there was no one on hards. And I thought, this is the perfect race. I'm going to have clean air in front of me. I'm going to be able to do my own race. And then I put on the hard tyre, and from that one, it was like, what is this thing? Which is strange because we tried it in FP1 and it was quite good. This was a little bit awkward. I think Gabriel kind of cuts in, but it's not really his fault, and it just lazy and awkward. Had a spin, caught the group up again. Then there was I think with Carlos's incident, we pitted for medium, so we effectively were a pit stop behind. We got back to 14th. We had good pace. We were scrapping a lot, but it's weird with this weather, with this wind. It was so hard to follow compared to yesterday. So I think the overtakes were much harder. Sector 3, to stay close in Sector 3 was a nightmare.
We saw, obviously, qualifying didn't go your way, but
Yeah.
the Williams team, at least the car looks like it's pretty competitive. You guys did a great job yesterday. Mexico, track that's going to suit you?
It should, yes. Mexico should suit us. I think we've been struggling a little bit, especially on my side of the garage, just getting in the rhythm these last few races. It feels like, for whatever reason, these like bumpy-ish, low-speed circuits, for whatever reason, we've been tackling some gremlins within the car, and it hasn't been very smooth. So I'm hoping Mexico, a proper weekend, full weekend, FP1, to build up to it, because on paper that track should suit us. But then again, it's all low-speed corners, so we need to kind of get on top of it.
You look like you found the soft tyres now. You're heading in the right way if you can keep it on the track.
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the goal. Keep it on the track. I think last year we did not actually I had a lap 1 incident in Mexico, so we'll try and do better than that. And let's see.
Alex, thank you. We're going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining us, though. Good luck in Mexico.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, after such promising pace for Williams all weekend, of course, at P3 as well in the sprint race for Carlos Sainz, no points return at all. Let's hear, though, from Carlos Sainz after a DNF following contact with Antonelli.
Hey, Carlos. Well, obviously you made a really good early start and made that move on Ali. Were you disappointed then that when you obviously went for a move with Kimi, it didn't quite pan out in the same way?
Yeah, it didn't quite work out the same way that it did with Oli. I felt like at the time I was on a very good pace, very good feeling with the car, and I felt like it was a good opportunity to make a move. Unfortunately, with Kimi, it didn't work out in the same way. I felt like Kimi was quite a bit more aggressive than Oli on the defense and on the turning to the corner, and that kind of scared me at the time, and which forced me to hit the brakes hard to avoid a collision. In the end, it didn't matter because I locked the brakes and I hit him and we caused an accident. But looks a lot worse from the outside than what it felt from the inside. And in the end, it's a shame because we were very quick today.
I know that you had the good day yesterday and that's encouraging, but does it feel a bit of a case of missed opportunity after losing out today?
Yeah, it's always the same with racing. You know, I could have played it safe, being in P8, not try a move on Kimi and follow him to the flag and bring 4 points to the team and celebrate that. In the end, when you're racing, you always want more, you always go for it. I went for it with Oli and it worked perfectly fine. It's a corner where I've done multiple overtakes in the past and I've never crashed, and this time around with Kimi, it didn't quite work out, so it's what it is.
Thanks, Carlos.
Not the day, not the weekend for Williams and Carlos Sainz. Good points in the sprint yesterday, but not to be today a DNF. Andrea Stella has joined us, and not the day for McLaren yesterday, but a P2 and a P5 today. How do you reflect? Are you satisfied with that? Is that the maximum return from today you hope to achieve?
Well, you know,
Or
like
you would achieve realistically, I suppose.
Well, we go racing to win races, so that would have been what would have satisfied me today. If anything, it's encouraging that we checked that we do have the pace to fight for victories. We couldn't exploit this pace because we engaged with Lando. An interesting race with Charles, but I think this cost us quite a bit of time and we couldn't catch Verstappen. I think the pace was there in the car, so that's promising. Like I say, it was important today, above all, though, to score points after yesterday's disappointment in the sprint with 0 points. So it was important to, you know, finish on the podium with Oscar, score some decent points, considering that he's been a little bit on the back foot throughout the weekend. Something to review with Oscar, so not fully satisfied, but overall as a Sunday, a decent one.
I want to talk to you quick about that strategy with Lando Norris at the end of the race. Switches onto the softs, comes out behind Charles. Initially, right on his gearbox, can't make the pass, actually falls back quite a bit, a few seconds back, and then makes that charge again at the end. Was falling back strategic, cool the tires off, let it sort of regroup and go again, or did the mediums really just fall off of the Ferrari?
No, it was strategic. We knew that if we go all the way 1 second behind Charles, we're going to have a lot of degradation and probably we will never have a chance to actually pass. So together with the driver, we decided to create a bit of a gap, cool down the tires. With the telemetry, we checked when we would have been happy to go again. And then once we achieved this sort of lower threshold in terms of temperature, we went again and ultimately it worked. So it was a strategy and
well executed plan. Yeah.
Andrea, we've got to let you go, but thank you so much for joining us on the show.
No problem. Thank
really
you all.
Really appreciate your time as ever. Thank you. I think the team were hurrying him along to the next media interview, but I really wanted to ask, when do they start prioritising one driver over another with the threat of Max Verstappen? They probably wouldn't have given me an answer, to be fair. And he's a very, very diplomatic
I like the idea, though.
I was like, oh, do I ask it? I could see the team wrapping him.
And it's interesting you say they think they had the pace of Max as well. You know, that feeling there that Max is winning these races, but he's not necessarily still just driving the fastest car, even though he's race after race. Sometimes he does by a small margin, but sometimes maybe McLaren is still there. So the gap is coming down, but you look ahead to Mexico, even with the landslide that's coming in, you don't think, oh, well, Max will win again. It's back onto a clean slate.
And I say prioritising one driver over another. Lando Norris, of course, has closed that gap once again to Oscar Piastri to just the 14 points. It's P2 today after a great battle with Leclerc. Let's hear from him.
Hey Lando, well you relentlessly did give up on getting that P2 back obviously after the start. How satisfying is it to get that position, those crucial extra 3 points in that championship fight?
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it was just tough to follow. Of course you could overtake and it just wasn't easy. The Ferrari was very quick in the high speed. And really, that's where you got to follow, you know, through sector 1 to give yourself a chance down the back straight. But I could never stay close enough, unless I kind of forced something to happen and he could make a little mistake or something. So, certainly a little bit harder than I would have liked, but a fair and a tough battle. So enjoyable. I obviously would have liked to have challenged Max, but considering I could barely get past the Ferrari, who wasn't as quick as Max, then I doubt I ever would have been able to get past anyway.
You're slowly chipping away at those points you lost in Zandvoort. Considering where the pace of the car was, how you weren't that comfortable, is it good to just get a good haul on a weekend where you weren't that strong? That must be particularly satisfying.
I mean, every weekend's important, so it doesn't matter if you're strong or not. I guess I feel like we maximised today. I mean, of course, I will go back and review turn 1, lap 1, see what I could have done better. Obviously, the risk of trying to go too wide is a little remake of yesterday. So, you know, I think I took the correct option. Of course, it would have been nice to hang on to second and see what we could have done. But like I said, considering I could barely get past the Ferrari, I definitely wouldn't have got past the Red Bull. So I think second, honestly, was the best we could do today. And a good load of points. So I'll take it. I'm happy with that.
All right, congrats. Thank you.
Second, the very best he can do. The words of Lando Norris there, racing drivers alongside me. Is there anything else you could see he could have done with the very lovely benefit of hindsight? Jolyon.
Get a better start. If he took the lead at the start, he can win the race. And that's twice now he's lined up alongside Max at the front, and twice he's had pretty stodgy getaways. He was unlucky that Charles started on the soft.
Yeah.
And there's been a few times now where Lando started second and the guy in third has started on the soft tyre. And that obviously really hurt him. I then thought he probably could have been a bit more dicey in those early laps and tried to clear Charles earlier. But he's absolutely right. If he had it done, I don't think he's got enough to then beat Max.
It could have kept up with him, but to his point, I don't think he would have been able to pass him. He's got a very good outlook on things. I got to say, like when you hear him in the pen, good days, bad days, his outlook on it, I think, is pretty spot on. Pretty self-aware of the situation that he and McLaren are in, and the situation that is Max Verstappen and Red Bull right now. And yeah, I mean, he had to try to defend. He couldn't open up too wide on that first turn there, or else somebody could have tried something, bold up the inside of him. So did what he sort of had to do. It was a little bit circumstantial.
Yeah, it's just the 2 getaways this weekend that have cost him a little bit, but he did have a good start in Singapore, which launched him up the field. So you win some, you lose some with the starts, and I think that's mostly it, really, for Lando in the end.
Turn 1 just seems so difficult to get right here. It feels like wherever you are, there's something else. There's another line that a driver can take advantage of you on.
That's what makes it great.
I mean, that's why we love it.
Such for us, it's awesome. From the driver's seat, it's a little bit more challenging. But I just want to quickly touch back on the conversation with Andrea there, and just how impressive that discipline was, that patience was from Lando. Couldn't get it done initially. Said, okay, let's step back. He said the tires are gone. I think you mentioned 7 laps into that stint.
Yeah.
Let them cool down, did what he had to do, and executed. I thought that was just so well played by them. And again, the patience it took from Lando, very impressive.
And in the end, the move is solid. It was good teamwork, as you say, good patience, right over the marbles. And you've got to remember, maybe he could have been a bit more dicey in those early laps. But actually, this was a really strong weekend for him. If you look at where Oscar was, he's finished 20 seconds up. He's out-qualified him in the sprint quali and the main quali by 0.3 of a second. Between title rivals in the same car, that's a big gap. So he's been driving the wheels generally off the McLaren. Today, Charles meddled and made his life harder. But I think he'll be happy just to get back to second and pretty much maximise what he could have done.
I think it's clear that Oscar Piastri has not had a comfortable weekend at all, but Lando Norris capitalising where he can. And in the first overtake we saw, obviously coming back from losing the place at the start, Jolene, you said he's running out of ideas and it's very predictable for Leclerc to defend. What would you have hoped he'd have done differently through those opening exchanges?
I think you've got to brake later on the initial break at 12 to threaten to maybe go around the outside, or to force Charles to go deep as well, and then you can get a chance to get more of a look on the outside. It is difficult with the sequence of corners that you've got. If you've got a left-hander into a left-hander, the undercut, the switchback, it works so easily, because then you have the inside and then see you later, mate, you're out, and I'm through. But when you go left-hander, so you get the switchback, you're now on the outside for the next right-hander, and then you're like, right, he's gone in deep, I'll get the switchback again, but then it's another left-hander. You just get shuffled out, so you've got to start mixing it up. And when I was looking at that, I just thought Charles just covering exactly where the sort of scripted move would be, and Lando just for a couple of laps was on that scripted move, which is exactly what he did also last year with Max, until finally he went for the big send that was now famous around the outside.
Yeah, I mean, we say, what could Lando have done differently? I also think it's worth pointing out that Charles Leclerc was defending beautifully, even on entirely different strategy on softs that were falling off and then older mediums.
And I mean, credit to him for making those softs last as long as he did. Full fuel, track's in the worst condition it's going to be at the start. And no one had really run them like that before. He went as far as anybody, I think, on the softs. So good effort to have the pace, to have the car placement, and have the awareness to do all that in what should have been the inferior tire at the time.
Final point on McLaren, and we'll head to Ferrari, who've had such a brilliant weekend. How much have McLaren been disadvantaged by what happened in the sprint race? And in perhaps having to set the car up in a more conservative manner because they simply didn't have the data to go off?
I think that's the overarching thing here. They've lost loads of points because of the sprint race, but they've had to raise the ride height a little bit. It's really bumpy. We've seen disqualifications in the past for plank wear. We've seen it this year. It's particularly difficult on sprint weekends because you don't have FP2 to laden the car and go and do a load of long runs. So you kind of need that sprint to get a race sim in, even if it's on lighter fuel. And they didn't have that with either car. If one car's out, at least you got the data for how much plank wear there is on the other one. But when there's no data at all, you have to be cautious. Otherwise, you're going to get a DQ. And in McLaren's fairness and everything else, a DQ for one of their drivers would be pretty shocking. So they had to go cautious. And I think it probably cost them a sort of, for 1 mil of ride height, it's 1/10 of a second. So for every little bit of caution, there is lap time that's just straight attributed to it.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. Thank you, Jolien. Right, on to Ferrari then. Let's first hear from Fred Vasseur. He's with Lorette.
Fred, congratulations. What an incredible finish, 3rd and 4th. Is there something that you can attribute this success to?
To the hard work of the team and the drivers, that we had a very tough Friday. We were at the back of Q3, but from Friday evening, I think we started to put everything together. We had a good sprint race in terms of pace. The quali went well. The race today went well. We were aggressive on the strategy. We had 2 good drives. I know they did very well. I'm quite happy with the recovery.
Very well. Is this result a relief to the team?
Yeah, it's we had a tough weekend. We had some frustrating weekend because the last couple of races, we were quite often quite close to do it, and for different reasons it was not working. But yeah, I think it's good for the confidence of everybody, for the drivers, for the engineers, and for everybody at home that let's push until the end.
Yeah, push until the end for sure. And a master class done by Charles, starting on the softs and getting to the end on the mediums. Are you happy with the strategy and how it played out?
Yeah, that we wanted to be aggressive, and it was not far away to pay off. That target was to be able to be in front of Max and Lando turn 1, but it worked at 50%.
Fred, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Fred Vasseur, smiling, and obviously there's been speculation about his future at the team, and it seems an apt response. I'll try and get my words out. An apt response with a P3 and a P4 for Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Where did you put the Ferrari comeback? Do you think they understand where they've come back from and how they've managed to do it?
No, not entirely, but that's okay. That's what Mondays and Tuesdays are for back at the factory. I mean, Leclerc said it. He was surprised to be P3. They do seem to not be as affected by these massive swings in conditions in terms of wind, track temp, things like that. Of course, that's how he being Leclerc, got that pole in Hungary. But when you look at where they were on Friday to where they were on Saturday, it was a big swing in performance. So credit to everybody at the team and back at the factory that figured out whatever it was they figured out. Again, it found them more lap time than they were expecting, but good problem to have.
That's the thing. They'll know why they were quick now, because they've made changes that would have directly gone from an 8th and a 10th to being competitive. But will that translate to being able to be quick at the next race next week? I don't know. That's the problem. It's the same thing for Ferrari, the same thing for Mercedes.
Should we hear from Charles Leclerc then? Let's have a listen. P3 today and a podium for Ferrari.
Hey Charles, well, heck of a start and heck of a fight to try and keep Lando behind. What's the overriding emotion considering you still got a podium? I think you're first in 6 races.
Yeah, I'm happy, but also a bit disappointed to lose second place at the end. But I feel like this is where we belong at the moment, and we did the perfect qualifying and race, and I don't think we can regret anything. I think we were very brave to start on the soft, but I like that because I think we had the right strategy from the beginning. Then others kind of copied, seeing our first stint on the soft, went on the soft later on. But yeah, so I think we did a really good job extracting the maximum out of the car, and it was a fun race as well. I really enjoyed the fight with Lando, and yeah, I made his life a bit more difficult, but at the end he got the better of it.
How much can you take out this weekend, the team as well? Because I've talked to you on these Sunday evenings when you've been at a loss to explain why the weekend previously has been so bad. This one, you've been up and down, but you got the job done on Sunday. So how much can you take from that?
A lot. I think there will be a lot of analysis to understand why do we have such a swing of performance in the same weekend. I have some clues about it. I think we still need to analyze everything well to understand the full picture, because it's been a big difference of performance from one day to another. So yeah, but it's been a positive weekend. We've worked really well as a team, and I'm happy that we finish on the podium to thank the team of the good work this weekend.
Great stuff, congrats.
Well, Charles Leclerc with some clues. That will give them some insight then heading into a very short turnaround into the Mexico City Grand Prix. But a long-awaited, much-needed podium for both Charles and Ferrari. Pat Simmons has joined us in his brand new uniform as well for Cadillac Formula One team. Executive Engineering Consultant. Please explain the role, what it involves, what it entails for Cadillac, this 11th team on the grid for next year.
Well, it's a pretty interesting role because, you know, we are a new team. There's so much to do. And I guess my job's sort of trying to have a look at what's going on everywhere, making sure we're doing it to the highest standards, helping out wherever I can, but at the same time, just trying to have an eye on the future and where we need to be over the next few years. Because everyone is so busy just getting that car on the grid, getting all the infrastructure around it. It's quite a task.
Pat, I'm interested to know, actually, you were instrumental in the current regulations that we're at now with the ground effect. Obviously, there's a big regulation change coming in 5 races' time for the start of next year where Cadillac will be on the grid. Are you surprised, though, how much it's become difficult to follow again in this era of, we've just had not the most thrilling Grand Prix, a lot of drivers saying it's difficult in the high speed again. it's all, you know, the field's narrowed up. There's a lot of things that's happening. It's really competitive, but it seems like the dirty air has become a much bigger thing. Were you expecting it with years of evolution?
Yeah, it's interesting because, of course, I was very involved in those 22-car regulations. And, you know, when the cars first came out, they really were pretty good. The drivers were really pleased at how close they could follow. But I knew it would get eroded. It was bound to get eroded because the trouble was that what was needed to have close following was the opposite of what was needed for good performance. Therefore, the teams were always fighting it. With the 26 regulations, they've tried to take a different approach. There'll still be some erosion of it, there's no doubt about it, but I do expect the 26 cars to be able to follow a little bit closer again, and we'll see how it develops over the years.
Pat, Cadillac's had to start recruiting from a long time ago. Years ago, they started staffing up, but you had a couple very important hires a few months ago that were announced, your two drivers. How excited are you to have two Grand Prix winners, Constructor Championship contributors on the team, and how crucial a role are they playing in the development of this new car?
I think we've got two really, really good drivers. We've got a good batch now of simulator drivers as well, test drivers. So we made a big matrix of all the drivers who could be available to us. Of course, some aren't. We looked at the qualities of all of them in relation to what we needed as a team. So we needed, you know, going in really a little bit blind. We needed people who we could rely on, who had the experience, etc. We weren't in a position to take a rookie and develop them. And of course, Valtteri I worked with at Williams. I know him well. I know his abilities. Checo, he had a bit of a torrid time at the end of his career with Red Bull. Well, it wasn't the end of his career, before his break from Red Bull. But I think we've seen, you know, that a lot of other people have had even bigger problems. And Checo has already been in the simulator, and I'm really pleased with the feedback we've got from him. At the end of the season, we'll be able to put Valtteri in the simulator, and that'll be a real acid test for us because, of course, he will have driven the Mercedes simulator. He will have driven the mule cars, testing the new tyres. So we'll get a really good steer from him, I think. But, yeah, they're two great drivers, you know, a lot of wins between them, a lot of points, a lot of podiums, and great for a team like us.
Pat, you mentioned the steer you're getting from these two drivers and what signings they are. Where do you realistically put Cadillac next season? I know it's impossible to say in terms of where everyone else will be, but how pleased are you with the development that you have seen since joining the team?
I'm really impressed with everything I've seen with the team. You know, I joined at the beginning of this year after a very long gardening leave, and I didn't really quite know what to expect. But as I looked at each department, I thought there's an awful lot going on here that's real front of the grid type stuff. So pretty pleased with where we are. Now, new regulations are a bit of a double-edged sword because you can say, well, actually, everyone's starting from zero again. But the trouble is, we don't know where we are. We don't know where we are relative to other people. If the regulations had stayed the same, you know, these days we can simulate enough to back calculate and see where we would be. So it's really quite an adventure going into next year.
Lots of unknowns, but that's exciting. Can I get your opinion, as we've got you with such a wealth of experience and knowledge within Formula One, on what we're seeing unfold into the latter part of this season? It looked like a fight between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. Max Verstappen he's started the most almighty, potentially historic comeback in the history of this sport. Do you think he can do it? And how do you see this breaking down all the way to Abu Dhabi?
Well, I think it's really interesting because, you know, today we didn't see a classic race, did we? But what we did see was we saw the chance that we're going to have a classic end to the season. I think Max can do it. I really do. If he doesn't, it won't be by much. And, you know, with the two McLarens, who's going to win from that as well? So, not a great race today, a little bit formulaic, but wow, it's set things up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, for sure. The sport in a wonderful place with 5 Grand Prix weekends to go. Thank you, Pat, so much for joining us. I cannot wait to see Cadillac on the grid next year and you back in the thick of it. Thank you.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us. We're going to hear then from your race winner. This is Max Verstappen.
Max, well, congratulations on a mega win today. How satisfying is it, not just this race win, but the way you've performed all weekend long?
Yeah, it's been for us an incredible weekend. We really maximized all the results. And I think today in the race, what was key was just that first stint. Charles was, of course, battling with Lando, and that's where I could pull the gap. Because I think as soon as Lando was in clean air, it was very evenly matched, or he was slightly faster. And we basically managed the gap till the end, but it was not super easy. I mean, maybe it looked easy on the TV, but time management was tough today. Also with the wind, every lap, you could expect something different. So to be consistent, in that race to be consistent was quite tough, but we managed to pull it off.
I know that these last 5 races where you've performed really strongly have all been tough, hard-fought ones, but you've gone from 104 points at one stage to 42 points. You looked out of it, now it feels like you're really in it. How satisfying is it, just that performance curve?
Yeah, we are having some really good weekends, and of course we also know that we need to be perfect till the end of the season to have a chance, but we will try, and if we succeed, of course, amazing. If we don't, we tried everything we could till the end, and we kept it exciting, and that's, I think, the spirit for us. It's positive pressure. We don't feel like it's putting anything on us. We're not stressed about it. We're just going flat out.
Fair play, congrats.
That was your race winner, Max Verstappen. Can he do it? Can he overhaul the biggest points deficit in the history of this sport to claim title number 5? This story will rumble on all the way through to Abu Dhabi. First stop, Mexico. Next up, Mark Stewart has joined us of Race Against Dementia, and of course, son of Jackie. You're standing here with a racing helmet. We're very used to seeing those in the paddock. Not one quite this special, though. Just explain what you're holding here.
Well, you were talking about Max Verstappen, a world champion. He signed this helmet along with another 19 world champions. So there's 19 living world champions at the moment. So Jackie Stewart being the oldest one, my father. And there's Rosberg here and etc. So this helmet is the original. And what we're going to do is a very incredible limited edition helmet, which will be signed by the 2025 world champion. So it'll be on that helmet as well. And we're going to do a prize draw. And the prize draw is not just the helmet with all these signatures on it, plus the new world champion helmet signature, but it will be also with an all expenses paid trip to Abu Dhabi Grand Prix 2025. Really expensive trip for anybody to do, but you could probably get it for £25 or $34. So it's open in the United States and in the UK. So have a go.
What a tremendous prize. That's amazing. And just how important is this charity and the work it does? We hear Sir Jackie talk so eloquently and so beautifully about Helen, your mother.
It's so important. I mean, my mother has dementia, and when my mother was diagnosed with dementia, she was, my father says, oh, surely there must be a cure for this. And she was my father's timekeeper. She's a world champion in our family. And to find out she had dementia and there was no cure, my father immediately said, well, we've got to find a cure. And turning a negative into a positive, let's get on with this. And here we are. We've now funding 50 people around the world, 5-year fellowships. It's incredible. So this prize draw is going to help towards that. But thanks to Formula One, and this is a wonderful relationship that we have. We're an official charity of Formula One, so we have this great place that we can do this. And we've had DHL, which is wonderful as well, etc. And a lot of people, a lot of teams are helping us out. And those drivers, to put their name on them is not easy, as you can imagine, to get all of them, particularly the ones who lived in like Brazil and Australia, whatever it is,
Well,
So
it's this one down here that's pretty special as well, isn't it?
yeah, this is very special. So Michael Schumacher and Corinna organized this, and she basically held his hand and put MS in on the chin here, and so it's a very special helmet. So this is something that's never been done before. My father's driven in this helmet. He drove in Bahrain with his 1973 World Championship car.
I remember that was amazing, wasn't it?
It was wonderful. I mean, I had tears in my eyes, because I'm not sure how many times he'll do that anymore. So this is really a unique. It's got his DNA in it.
He didn't mess about either. He got stuck in out there, didn't he, when he got back in the car?
It's incredible.
Always a racing driver.
Always a racing driver, and you'll be glad to hear that, by the way. It'll last a long time. And it's wonderful. And but we're very lucky. We've got an amazing mother, Paul and I. And because of her dementia, we've managed to create this charity. It's 10 years now 10 years we will be, in almost 10 years now we'll be running, and my mother's still around and switched on in some respects, but it's a very tough experience, and I don't want other people to live with this for long. 1 out of every 3 people born today will suffer with dementia. But I'm a glass half full kind of guy, and I think with Formula One and that help and the energy and the problem-solving skills of Formula One, we can do an awful lot. So, it's a win-win, really. And we're already doing some incredible things. I mean, you should meet some of our fellows. And that problem-solving skills of Formula One really translate very well into the lab as well.
Oh, we wish Helen, Sir Jackie, yourselves, the charity, all the very best. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you raise so much money with this incredible prize draw. Just the money can't buy prize, except you can. It's 25 quid a ticket, potentially. I'm going to have to ask you before you go, who you think is going to win the 2025 World Championship and get their signature on here, because it's wide open.
We've got Verstappen's on here, so I'd rather not if he didn't. I would like to add a 21st. It'd be lovely if one of the McLaren boys could do it. I mean, it would be a great story. It's a great story for Formula One. It's so great it's close, and that's what motor racing is all about. It's a competition, and somebody lucky will get this helmet.
Yeah, incredible stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. Incredible story. Okay, we're going to look at the schedule then for the Mexico City Grand Prix. It's just around the corner.
Okay, thank you very much. Brilliant.
And here is the schedule. Weekend warm-up for you at 4:30 p.m. on Thursday. We'll be back in action. James Hinchcliffe and I will be there. And then practice FP1 12:15, 3:45 for FP2, 11:15 for your FP3. Back to the normal Grand Prix weekend. I think a fair few drivers and teams will be very grateful for that. Qualifying, pre-quali show at 2:30, qualifying at 3 p.m, all the reaction coming immediately afterwards. And then mark your cards, this is the time for the Mexico City Grand Prix action. 1 p.m. pre-race show, 2 p.m. start for the Grand Prix, and your post-race show straight after. And Mexico, the altitude, the incredible track, and the position that we're currently in Formula One, you don't want to miss it. Do they, James?
You really don't. I mean, it's such a fun event. It's one of my favorite ones on the whole calendar, and every time we go there, we talk about that run down to turn 1. This is an exciting turn 1 for a whole different set of reasons there. It's almost like Spa. Qualifying on pole is sometimes a disadvantage, but it's always exciting, always a great atmosphere. Cannot wait to get down there. And like you say, championship battle well and truly alive. I just got to go back. I love that helmet. I'm going to buy tickets to that. Where do we get tickets? Did he tell us where to get tickets?
I think Race Against Dementia, head online, you'll be able to find out there.
I'm heading straight there.
Such an amazing competition and such a worthy cause as well. Okay, well, before we sign off from the United States, from Austin, Texas here, we have a great team on camera that I love working with these guys. We also have the most amazing team off camera as well, and we like to recognize them on very special occasions. And our cameraman, who you can see right there, who is our main cameraman, we stand and stare at and talk to. This is JP, Jean-Pierre, and it is his, I'm going to give your age away, mate, because it's so impressive. It's his 65th birthday today, and he is still going. All those wacky camera angles you see, that is down to JP and his marvelous, beautiful work. He's an absolute legend. So happy birthday to JP, and a huge thank you to all the brilliant, brilliant people who work behind the scenes at us here at F1 TV, because we absolutely could not do it without you, whether that's here on the ground or back at Biggin Hill. James, I honestly can't wait for Mexico. I cannot believe the manner in which this season is unfolding. We hope you will join us in Mexico City next week. You do not want to miss it. It's going to be a three-way fight for this title. See you there.
Welcome to the Mexico City Grand Prix.
Welcome to Mexico City.
We leave the line, and it's a good reaction time for Max Verstappen, and into the barriers for Yuki Tsunoda. It creates an atmosphere worthy of a truly great circuit.
This is the Mexico City Grand Prix.
Carlos Sainz wins the Mexico City Grand Prix.
Oh, this feels good. Gracias, Mexico.